Does sitting in the sauna really boost your VO2 max, like people say? Success leaves clues. I dove deep into researching what the Tour de France winners are doing, what elite marathon runners are doing to really take their performance to the next level. I've seen people online call the sauna a VO2 max cheat code. And I ended up running the same heat protocols on myself while I was training for my own races. But is the sauna really a secret weapon, or is it just a sweaty fad? This is one of the topics that really fires me up, pun intended. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how elite endurance athletes use heat training to boost their performance without really adding any extra brutal intervals to their training program. I'm going to break down the 3 biggest benefits that you can see for your sport performance and recovery. I'm going to tell you which sauna is best for you to use. And then I'm also going to give you a very practical strategy that you can just drop straight into your busy week and maximize your time. But here's the catch. If you get the timing wrong, or if you use the wrong protocol for your goals, to be honest, it can actually hurt your performance and it can make you feel just cooked 24/7. So before you spend another minute just sitting in a sweaty box, let's make sure you're actually using the sauna to get you faster. Before we talk about the benefits of the sauna, I just want to give you a little bit of a background on all the research I've done on the elite endurance athletes. And so this topic really lights me up because I'm somebody who is always looking for marginal gains. I always want to know how to optimize my performance. I'm an endurance enthusiast. I am a borderline masochist where I just love doing hard shit. And I coach elite athletes, D1 professional. I've done it for the past 10 years, but I'm a regular person. And I know that I'm never going to be them, but I still want to I still want to be the best version of myself. I still want to maximize my performance. And we're both human. So the same physiological principles apply. So what I do is I'll just study the greats because success leaves clues. And so I'll take what's working for the top 1% and then just scale it down and apply it. And so I really train, average people to get more athletic, to build that engine based off of like what the top 1% are doing. And so I love cycling. One of my favorite cyclists is Tadej Pogacar. And if you don't know him, look him up because he's an absolute beast. But I've studied him for years and like what he's doing, why is it working, things like that. And there was one specific catalyst that brought in the sauna for me. And it was because in 2023, he got smoked on a stage and you could tell he was just dying.
Please into general classification.
I'm gone. I'm dead.
And there could have been a lot of stuff going on, but one of the factors was heat. And he came back in 2024 and 2025, absolutely demolished the field. Like he cooked them. So you're like, okay, well, what did he do differently in 2024 or in the off season that led to that performance? And so because I like cycling, I just tried to apply what worked for him to myself. And so I used the heat training protocol to prep for an Ironman race, to prep for this race in Colorado called the Triple Bypass, which is where you cycle up and down 3 different mountain passes. It is in the dead of summer and it's at elevation. So lots of stress factors going on there. And before we move on, I just want to answer the question, is it true that, a sauna can just replace cardio? Short answer, no, that is not true. Now, there are other benefits to the sauna. I'm not going to get into those today. But the true unlock for the aerobic benefits come when you pair it with aerobic training. And so what are the main benefits of the sauna? Well, the first one is going to be it does increase your stroke volume. And so stroke volume is essentially the amount of blood that is being pumped to the muscles. And so within the blood, there's going to be oxygen. And oxygen will allow your muscles to work at a much higher rate, a much higher intensity. The second performance benefit of the sauna is just heat acclimation. So you can kind of think of this as a specific adaptation to an imposed demand. So what does that mean? It just means exposing yourself for a longer period of time to the demand, aka heat. And what happens is your body adapts to that the more time you spend in it. And so, yes, you can get acclimated to the heat by just sitting in the sauna, but think about when you actually go to do an endurance session in the heat. Are you going to get the same benefit? I'm going to say no, because the adaptation is specific. So if all you do is just sit in the sauna and you don't train, well, when you go out and train, you're going to have a pretty big reality check, because the heat is a stressor. But then you're layering on another stressor, such as the activity, and you're going to be cooked really fast. So that's why it's important to really combine the endurance training with the sauna and stack those sessions. And I'm going to show you how to do that later. When you're acclimated to heat and you're also taking that one step further and you're acclimated to training in heat, well, it allows you to work at a higher percentage of your max power in hot conditions, because your body has now adapted to the fact that heat, it's not as much of a stressor as it was before. All right, performance benefit number 3 here. This might sound a little bit wooey, but I promise you it's true. It's psychological resilience. And so you may have heard some people talk about this with like cold plunging online and why that is beneficial, because you're exposing yourself to doing something hard. Well, same principle applies to the sauna. And so while you're sitting in, 180, 200 degree heat, it's really just a form of controlled stress exposure. And so if you're able to just focus on your breath cycles, regulate your heart rate, it trains your mental calmness and your breathing under discomfort. So when you actually go out and do your endurance event or do your endurance training, when things get hard, you don't start hyperventilating. You're able to control yourself under discomfort. And so that one may be a little bit more of a subtle benefit, but I promise you, it is still there. Now that we've covered the top 3 performance benefits of the sauna, I want to dive into probably the most common question that I get, which is, what sauna is best for me? Is it the steam room? Is it the traditional sauna? Is it the infrared? I have 2 questions back for you, and this is going to dictate my answer. First question, where do you live? Where do you train at? Second question, which one do you enjoy more? So the first question kind of goes back into that principle we were talking about, the SAID principle, specific adaptations to impose demands. And the reason for that is because traditional infrared saunas, they're dry heat. And if you live in dry climate conditions, well, you're essentially mimicking what you would see outdoors in the sauna, just in a controlled state. Now, if you are in humid conditions like Florida, then the steam room is going to do that same thing. But I think the second question is probably more important, because if you absolutely hate doing one, then you're probably not going to do it for that long in order to see the benefits. So those are the 2 questions that I kind of want you to run through your filter system, because that's going to dictate which one you should do. Because all 3, honestly, they incorporate the same principle. It's just heat exposure. And there are trade-offs to each one, which I think is something important to consider. In the steam room, some people like it because they're like, oh my God, my skin feels amazing. Like I feel so hydrated. But then people like myself hate it because, we walk in there with dry clothes and come out looking like we just jumped in a pool. So you need like a separate swimsuit to actually, go in the steam room. And that just takes more time. Like I want to be efficient with my time. And we talk about trade-offs with traditional versus infrared. So traditional sauna, temperature is going to be super high, 180, 200. But that means that because the stress is high, your body doesn't need as much time in it. Versus infrared, it's at like 105, 110. It's basically just like going outside on a hot day. And in order for you to get the same benefits, you're going to have to spend way more time in the infrared sauna. So if you're limited on time and you just want to maximize it, always go traditional if you're looking for dry heat. And now that you've kind of gotten an idea of which one you should use, let's just dive into how do you realistically bake this into your routine to maximize the benefits. If you go to the gym for your aerobic endurance sessions, simply go directly into the sauna when you're done. And there is a reason for that. So I know earlier in the video, I cautioned you against believing that if you just sit in the sauna, it's going to give you the same exact benefits as cardio. It's not. That hasn't changed. When you stack them or combine them together, it's a true unlock for your VO2 max. So the reason for that is if you're just sitting in the sauna on its own, not doing cardio, like yes, your heart rate is increasing, your blood is flowing, but more so towards the skin. Whereas if you do it directly after a cardio session, Well, your body remembers and it's like, oh my God, my muscles need oxygen. They need blood right now. So even if you're sitting down in the sauna after your aerobic endurance session, your body is still going to continue pumping blood, pumping oxygen to those muscles. And if you combine that with the increased plasma volume that the sauna alone provides, okay, well, now you're getting the maximum benefit because you're driving oxygen to that blood, you're increasing the plasma volume, and boom, that's how you increase VO2 max right there. I just want to briefly touch on what I said at the beginning of this video, which is if you get the timing wrong here, or if you use the wrong protocol for your goals, using the sauna can actually hurt your performance and you feel cooked like 24/7. So we want to make sure that we're dosing it in the right time so you can actually feel faster. And it is that marginal gain. It's boosting your VO2 max. So if we talk about getting the timing wrong, one thing that I would caution you against is using the sauna too far out from your race or from your event, whatever you're using heat training for. The heat is just adding stress. It's adding unnecessary stress. And you have to compensate that or offset that with a decrease in intensity from your aerobic work. So that doesn't really make sense because you want to maximize your training intensity to get you ready for the race. And if you did maximize your training intensity and you added the sauna for months on end, you're going to be absolutely destroyed. So that's not a good plan. It's also not a good plan to, do an aerobic session in the morning and then do a sauna session at night because there's too much time in between that where you're not getting those same aerobic benefits as stacking the sessions back to back. So that's how you get the timing wrong. So for a heat training protocol here, I want you to think about what date is my race? What date is my event? Backtrack 3 weeks from there. That's where you're going to start your heat training. And where you're going to start, sit in the sauna, steam room, whatever you're using for as long as you can until the guardrail comes in place. That 60 to 65% of your max heart rate, call time there. Even if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, doesn't matter. That's going to be your baseline. And we're just going to slowly increase the time to where we're getting more and more heat exposure. Once you get to that 30-minute mark, you're going to start getting diminishing returns. So I don't necessarily need you to go past that 30-minute mark. What you could do is just sit at 30 minutes every single day. And what I want you to do here is 3 to 5 days before your race, cut the sauna. And there's a reason for that. So the benefits from the sauna, they are actually very brief. I think I read in the research, they only last about 7 to 9 days, something like that. So the reason why I give you 3 to 5 days, preferably on the 5-day side of things, is that what you are doing is you are essentially peaking the max benefits that you can get from the sauna as close to your race as possible. And then you're allowing yourself enough time to actually recover and feel fresh going into your event. Because if you were to do the sauna every single day up until your event, well, you're taking some fatigue, you're taking some stress into your event, which is going to lead to a decrease in performance. I hope that protocol made sense. Like, I know we covered a lot. It was a lot of information to digest. So if you have any questions, any thoughts, definitely drop a comment below and I will 100% respond to you. I appreciate you sticking with me through this video. The whole goal of this channel is really to, take average Joes like myself, turn them into athletic pros, really building that engine. And so there's going to be more content like this coming soon. So if you took any value away from it, if you want to see more of it, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and we'll chat soon. Take care, y'all.